Whispers of the Heart. Chapter 1. A New Beginning. Emily Carter stood in front of the small white cottage, the wind pulling gently at her long brown hair. It had taken her over 5 hours to drive here from the city, but now she was finally here, in the quiet town of Willow Creek, where she hoped to start over. At 25, Emily was tired of heartbreak and noise. She wanted peace, a place to breathe, to write, and maybe to fall in love again. She stepped inside, the old wooden floor creaking under her boots. Dust floated in the sunlight like tiny gold stars. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. The next day, she visited the local library. Books had always been her escape, her safe place. As she reached for a worn copy of Wuthering Heights, her fingers brushed someone else's. "Oh, sorry," she said quickly, looking up. The man standing there was tall, with dark eyes and a rough beard. He looked like he hadn't smiled in a while. "No problem," he said. His voice was deep and calm. "You like Bronte?" "She's my favorite," Emily said, smiling shyly. "Something about love and pain in the moors just feels real." He nodded. "I know what you mean." There was a silence, not awkward, but heavy, like both of them were holding secrets. "I'm Emily," she said, breaking the moment. "Daniel," he replied. "Nice to meet you." Chapter 2. The Stranger's Secret. The next morning, Emily couldn't stop thinking about Daniel. There was something about him, a quiet sadness, a depth she couldn't explain. She went back to the library, hoping to see him again. As she entered, she noticed him sitting in the far corner, writing in a black leather notebook. "Hey," she said softly. Daniel looked up. His eyes softened when he saw her. "Emily," he said. "Didn't expect to see you again so soon." "I needed some inspiration," she said, smiling. "And maybe company?" He gave a small, almost invisible smile and gestured to the seat across from him. She sat down and glanced at his notebook. "You're a writer?" she asked. He closed the notebook slowly. "I was, a long time ago." Emily raised an eyebrow. "Why did you stop?" Daniel hesitated. "Sometimes the past gets too loud." Before she could ask what he meant, the librarian walked by and gave Daniel a strange look. Not angry, but cautious. Curious, Emily filed the moment away in her mind. Chapter 3. A Glance Too Long. Emily returned to the library the next day, pretending she was there to borrow another book. But really, she was hoping to see him, Daniel, and there he was, in the same corner, same black notebook, same tired, handsome face. He looked up before she spoke. "You're becoming a regular." "I could say the same about you," she replied, smiling. This time he stood. "Want to get some coffee? The library's too quiet for real conversation." Surprised but excited, she nodded. "Sure." They walked together in silence through the cobbled streets of Willow Creek. The small cafe on the corner smelled like cinnamon and books. They took a seat near the window, light pouring in across the table. Daniel ordered black coffee. Emily got chai with almond milk. "So," she said, watching him, "what kind of writer were you?" "I wrote about people," he said, "but mostly about the ones who left." Emily tilted her head. "Sounds personal." "It always is." He looked at her, truly looked, like no one had in years. "And you?" "Why Willow Creek?" She hesitated. "I needed to leave the noise, the lies. I needed to find something real." For a moment, their eyes locked. Neither looked away. The space between them became quiet, not awkward, but full, like something was about to happen. Emily's fingers brushed his as she reached for her cup. A spark, small but real. Daniel noticed it too. He pulled his hand away slowly. "I'm not good at real," he said, almost to himself. "Maybe neither am I," she whispered. Chapter 4. The storm and it started to rain around 6 p.m. First gentle drops, then harder, until the sky cracked open and thunder rolled across Willow Creek. Emily had been walking home when the storm hit. She had no umbrella, no coat. The wind pushed her hair in all directions. She was soaked by the time she reached Daniel's front porch. She didn't plan to go there. Her feet just brought her. She knocked. He opened the door after a long pause. He was wearing a soft gray shirt, barefoot, a candle flickering behind him. "You're freezing," he said, pulling her inside. "Sit, I'll get you a towel." She stood in his living room, shivering. Books lined the walls, a guitar leaned in the corner, and the air smelled like cedar and rain. He came back, handing her a warm towel. "Thanks," she said, her voice quiet. He poured her tea. Her hands shook slightly as she held the cup. He noticed. "You didn't come just to escape the rain, did you?" he asked softly. She looked up. "Number I needed to see you." For a moment, nothing moved. Not the air, not the flames. Then he stepped forward, slowly. "I haven't let anyone in, Emily. Not in a long time." She nodded. Maybe we both needed someone to break the silence. He touched her face gently. She leaned into it. Their kiss was nothing like the one in the library. This was deeper, slower. Her hands moved to his chest. He pulled her closer. The storm outside roared louder, but inside, everything was still. He lifted her chin and whispered, "Are you sure?" "Yes," she breathed. Later, lying beside him, her head on his chest, she asked, "Will you tell me what happened to you?" He didn't answer immediately, but his fingers tightened around hers. "Tomorrow," he said, "if you're still here." Chapter 5. Shadows at the Door. Emily woke slowly, the soft light of morning painting golden lines across the sheets. Daniel was already up. She could hear the quiet clinking of cups from the kitchen. She smiled to herself. For the first time in a long time, she felt safe. But the moment didn't last. A loud knock came from the front door. Daniel appeared in the bedroom doorway, his face pale. "Stay here," he said, his voice tight. Emily sat up, confused. She listened. A woman's voice, cold, sharp, familiar to Daniel, but unknown to her. "What are you doing here?" Daniel asked. "I could ask you the same. You really thought you could hide forever?" Emily's heart beat faster. She stood slowly, stepping closer to the hallway. The woman pushed her way inside. She was tall, blonde, wearing a sharp coat and even sharper eyes. Then she saw Emily. "Oh," the woman said, with a cruel smile. "You didn't waste time, did you?" "Leave," Daniel said firmly. But the woman ignored him. She turned to Emily. "I'm Claire, his fiancée, or I was." Emily froze. "Is that true?" she asked Daniel. He didn't answer right away. Claire laughed bitterly. "Let me guess, he told you about the writing, the pain, the loneliness. He's very good at playing broken." "Enough," Daniel snapped. Emily looked at him. "Daniel, is she telling the truth?" "I didn't lie to you," he said, "but I didn't tell you everything either." The silence between them was louder than the storm the night before. Chapter 6. The Letter He Never Sent. Emily stood by the door, the silence between her and Daniel thicker than the storm had been. Claire had left, but her words echoed. "He's very good at playing broken." Daniel stepped toward her, but Emily moved back. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked quietly. "Because I thought if I did, you'd leave," he said. "And I couldn't lose you too. But now you almost did anyway." That night, Emily went back to her cottage. She couldn't sleep. Everything felt unreal. Had she fallen for a version of Daniel that didn't even exist? The next morning, she found an envelope on her doorstep. No name, just her address, and inside a letter written by hand. Emily, Hatomi, I never wanted you to find out like this. Claire wasn't just my fiancé. We had a son. His name was Lucas. One night, he disappeared. And I blamed myself. Claire did too. That grief, it broke us. I didn't come to Willow Creek to hide. I came to forget. But then I met you. You reminded me what it means to feel alive. I didn't lie to you, but I didn't show you the full truth either, because I didn't think I deserved someone like you. But if you still see something in me, if there's still a chance, come to the lake tonight, the old tree. If you don't come, I'll understand. But if you do, maybe this isn't the end. Emily read the letter 3 times. Her hands trembled. As the sun began to set, she stood by the lake, the wind cool against her skin. The old tree swayed gently behind her. She waited. Minutes passed, then a rustle in the trees. A small boy stepped out, maybe 6 years old, holding a worn teddy bear. Behind him, Daniel. Emily's breath caught in her chest. Daniel knelt beside the boy. "This is Emily," he said softly. "My friend." The boy looked up at her. "Are you the one from the book?" Emily knelt too, tears in her eyes. "Yes, I'm her." And in that moment, something broken began to heal.